Hello and good morning. I am so excited to be here with you today because today we are talking about something that I feel like is one of those themes that people tend to not talk about, and yet we all do it. I was speaking with a group of women earlier this week, and we were talking about that feeling that you get, like when you walk into a room and maybe you see someone, maybe you're a woman and you see another woman, and you know, she's got that skinny, perfect body thing that you want, and immediately you go into feeling not enough, or feeling fat, or feeling frumpy. Or a friend tells you, oh my God, I just got in this incredible relationship, I'm so happy, and you want to authentically be happy for your friend, but there's a part of you that's just feeling, gosh, what about my love? When is that ever going to happen to me? Or you hear someone telling you that, you know, they just made $20,000 last month, and you're like, that's so great for you. And it's so hard. This stuff happens all the time, and we know that we're supposed to be collaborative. We know that we're supposed to be happy for people. We know that, and yet the comparison thing happens all the time. And what I've just been talking to so many people about this, you know, and I've had my own experience with this. I remember, you know, back when I was running this like really fancy high-end health club, and I was so stressed about the numbers, and the numbers weren't coming in, and you know, all this stuff was really, really stressed out. And it was during a time in my life that I was living really incongruently. I was, you know, up in my head all the time, feeling anxious, you know, totally obsessed with food, feeling really, really insecure and full of self-doubt. And I remember this woman opened up a bar method, right, like in the same complex as me. And she was crushing it. She was doing so, so well. And I just, every time I would see her, and she was this cute little perfect body woman, and she was so sweet and so nice. But every single time I would talk to her, I would just feel, I would go green with jealousy and envy. I wanted that so badly. I wanted her success, and it seemed so easy for her. And, you know, she had a partner who would do all of her books and all of her accounting. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I just want that, you know? And so what happens? I feel like comparison is really about this, what I call this too much or not enough complex. Would you agree? It's like there's just a part of you that feels like when you're comparing yourself with other, it's this inferiority or superiority thing. I'm better than that person. I'm not enough for that person. I'm too good for this. I'm not enough of that. Or I'm too much of this or the wrong things. I'm too much of the wrong things, and I'm not enough of the right things. Somehow I'm just not the right kind. Somehow I'm just not okay. And this is what's really, really interesting about this too much, not enough complex, is that I find this, because I speak with so many people who struggle with their relationship with food, I find that this too much, not enough complex plays out on our plates, where we are either eating too much, or we're worried that we're not going to have enough. We're in this constant obsession around it. And so this is something that plays out in lots of areas in our lives. So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about where that comes from. And it really comes from something that I refer to as compartmentalization conflict. So compartmentalization conflict, compartmentalization conflict. Yeah, see, that's what you get for being a lefty. You smear everything. So compartmentalization conflict is the term that I use to refer to that stage or age in your life where you decided that it wasn't okay to be you. You decided that you were either too much of the wrong things, or you were not enough of the right ones. Maybe you were too emotional, or you were too needy, or you were too high maintenance, or you were too intense or too serious. And maybe you weren't enough of the right things. You weren't fun enough, you weren't spontaneous enough, you know, whatever it was here, or maybe you weren't lovable enough, maybe you're not important enough. Whatever it was, we made a decision at one point in our lives that it wasn't okay to be us. And when that happened, we actually disconnected from our authentic selves because something about us was not okay. And so compartmentalization creates, I'm not okay. I am not okay. What happens with I am not okay? I am not okay turns into a lot of self-doubt, right? You can see that because if I'm not okay, then it means that I don't know the answers. I don't know how to be. I don't know if I'm doing it right. Okay, so it creates a lot of doubt. We can see that, right? I'm not okay creates a lot of doubt. Here's what it does though, is that internal doubt sends us out into the world to now look into the world to say, hey, why don't you tell me if I'm doing it right or not? Let me look to you to tell me, is this right? Am I okay? Am I good? Am I lovable enough? Am I important enough? Am I worthy? Am I valuable? And all of that is what I refer to as the external feedback loop. So doubt creates this external feedback loop. The external feedback loop is literally where my sense of worth and value and identity gets projected into the world around me. And now I need the world to respond to me, i.e. I need people to respond to me. I need people to return my texts. I need people to smile at me on the street, even if they are strangers. I need for people to like me. Like all of a sudden, I'm looking to that external reality to inform how I feel about myself on the inside. Can you relate to this at all? If you can relate to this at all, just put doubt in the comments. Yes, you relate to the doubt thing because this is so much of what is going on for us. And so we might know, well, I shouldn't be comparing myself. That's stupid. And yet, if we have had some kind of scenario here where we've gotten some compartmentalization conflict all up in here, and we've developed some version of the too much, not enough complex, the I'm not okay as I am, I'm not the right kind, the way that I do it isn't right, or I can't trust that the way that I do it is right, then it totally takes us into this doubt cycle, which will push us into that, okay, why don't you tell me if I'm right or not? And then we're looking and we're comparing, and did I do it right? And am I, okay, good, I'm better than you. Okay, no, wait, no, but I'm not good enough for you. Okay, so in order for me to feel more valuable and worthy, now I need to compare myself to you. This is what we do. This is what keeps us so stuck. And so what do we do? Because I know that each one of you that are listening to this right now, you authentically want to be able to have meaningful friendships and sisterships and relationships. And you want to be able to connect authentically with others. You don't want to be up in your head. You don't want to be in that self-sabotage and that self-judgment because it just keeps us stuck. And so what do we do? Well, here's what I want to share. I want to share the #1 strategy for shifting what I call the comparison trap. You ready for it? Okay. So the #1 strategy for kicking the comparison trap is to follow through with what you know you are here to do. Follow through with what you know you are here to do. Here's the thing, is that let's say you're comparing yourself to somebody who is doing really, really well in their career. They're following their passion. They're living their light. And you're like, and it burns you up inside because you know that you're here to do this. And you might even have more skills, more to offer. Have you ever had that experience? I was just talking to a client this last week, and she's like, in her vocation, she's like, oh, it burns me up to see my colleagues having so much success because I'm smart. I know that I can do this. I could do this so much better, but I get in my own way. I'm getting in my sabotage patterns. And there's nothing worse than when you know at your core that you're here to do something. And maybe it's that you're here to be in really meaningful relationship. Maybe it's you're here to go out and shine your light. Whatever that is for you, if you are not doing that thing, then it becomes painful. It becomes nails on a chalkboard to see other people doing the thing that you know you are here to do, but you're not doing. And this is why it's so painful, because we get really angry, and I'll actually go as far as to say we get rage. We get a deep, deep rage. And that deep, deep rage is coming from that feeling, that self-betrayal of I'm not doing the thing that my gut is telling me I need to do. And it becomes painful. It becomes so, so painful. And it can actually fill us with more feelings of self-doubt, more feelings of feeling like you're not enough, or you're too much of the wrong things, or you're not the right kind, you're broken somehow, you're just never going to get it. And we get worse and worse and more down on ourselves. And so what I want to show you and share with you right now are some ways that you can start to follow through with what you know you are here to do. Because when you do that, this is what happens. You get into your joy. You get into your yummy, juicy, authentic nature. You get into that part of you that lights up, the part of you that you're like, yeah, this is just me. This is me. And that actually, that emanates from you. You actually become magnetizing to all the things that you actually truly want. So this is all about how to come back into that place. And so if you have a gut feeling that you know that you're here to do something, here are some tips that I want to share with you before we wrap up for today around how to do that. So first of all, take one tiny step. One tiny step. We think about like, oh, I want to go help more people. And then we're like, I've got to launch a business, and I've got to, get certified as a coach, and I've got to, do all these things, and I've got to leave my job. And in order for me to leave my job, I need to make sure that I'm, got all the money in the bank. And like we create all these steps, and it's like, okay, that's exhausting. I'm not going to do any of that. One tiny step could be, oh my gosh, I'm going to get some mentorship, and I'm going to come into deeper congruence with me. I'm going to start a women's circle, and I'm just going to start to give service and connect more authentically and meaningfully with some people. I'm just going to start to just take one tiny step in the direction of what it is that I want to do. Because here's the thing, and you might have heard me say this again, but I will say this before, but I will say it again, is that when I'm supporting people on their path of freedom, what I find so often is that people are like, oh, when am I going to get there? And they see freedom as a destination or a finish line to cross. And one thing that I always say is freedom is not a destination. Freedom is a vibration. Freedom is something that you can access in every moment when you unhook from the idea that it's not available to you. And when you just open up to the experience of what is there. And here, so here's the thing, is that it works in the same way, is that if you know that you are here to do something, then it doesn't have to be the end goal. You can actually start taking congruent, aligned, audacious action now. And it puts you on the trajectory of that thing, and that is what brings you into alignment. That is what brings you into congruence. And so then you're able to experience that yummy juiciness. It's kind of like when you have this health goal, right? And then you go to the gym for the first day. How good does it feel going to the gym for the first day? Does your body look any different? No. But you just got congruent. You just took that one step in the direction of what you know you want to do. So take one tiny step. That's number one. Number two is to flirt with failure. So we can get all up in our heads, all scared about, doing something that's kind of scary, that's into the unknown, that's outside of our familiarity zone. We can get all up in our heads, and again, we can start to project all of these fears, like, well, what if I've got nothing to say, and what if I get rejected, and what if I look stupid, and what if I get judged? How about we flip that around? And we just practice just flirting. What if failure is actually a part of the path? What if it's not something that means anything other than, oh, okay, you fell and you scraped your knee and you learned some things and then you get back up and you just try it again. You know, like this is, we get to be more playful with ourselves. When we're flirting with failure, we get to be more playful. We get to stretch and explore and expand. And it's not about getting it right and being perfect. You know, when we are in that external feedback loop and we're in that doubt and that dependence on other people, it forces us into proving ourselves, be trying to be perfect, people pleasing, and try to push our way through life. And so if we want to unhook from those qualities, then these are the kinds of things that we want to do. We want to be more playful with ourselves. This is something that I love, love, love to support women in. And I actually have a whole section, a whole module in the work that I do with women, where we dive deep into really expanding into being more playful, expanding into that raw creative energy, expanding into being able to stretch into the discomfort of what's new. And yet on the other side of that, we get to access a completely more authentic, congruent, confident version of ourselves. So this is so, so important. So flirting with failure is number 2. And number 3 is so important. This is to not do something for the outcome. The attachment that we have to doing something and it having a certain effect or outcome or reward, it really, really keeps us stuck. As long as we are attached to things looking a certain way or things needing to be a certain way, we stay really, really stuck and we stay really, really small. And so that's going to hold us back from doing the thing that we know we're here to do. But if you don't attach that outcome, and if you say, gosh, I'm just going to be right here, right now, I'm just going to take this one tiny step right here, right now. I'm going to do this one congruent, audacious action step right now. And I'm going to unattach from whatever that end outcome is supposed to be. The entire world opens up because you end up not doing something for the outcome. You do it for who you will become. And who you will become is just, it like you can't even know. You can't even know. What I can tell you is that the person that's feeling all of this, the person that's feeling all of this and all of this, that starts to go away when you actually catapult into a more congruent, aligned version of you, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just able to embrace all of me. I don't have to be perfect. I just get to love on all of what I've got going on because I am taking that action. I'm doing what I know I'm here to do. It is so, so important. It reminds me of one of my dear, dear clients, Jackie. I love her to death. And we, I remember when we first started working together, she was doing that thing that so many of us women do, where we compare our bodies to other women's bodies. And she had been single for a very long time. She wanted to be in a relationship, but she had that belief that so many of us get into of, in order for me to be in a relationship, I have to make my body look a certain way. I don't like to look in the mirror. I don't like what I see. She was in all of that self-judgment, all of that comparison with other women, and felt like she wasn't going to be able to have what she wanted. And, we started working together, and within a few months, what she started to access was this whole theme of, wait a second, I'm just going to focus on where I am right now. I'm going to take one tiny step at a time. I'm going to get the clarity that's going to allow me to see the distinctions of the little action steps that I need to take. I'm going to just leap into the unknown. It was so scary for her. She was like, big control person. I'm going to leap into the unknown. I'm going to flirt with failure. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm just going to allow myself to be guided. And it was so, so beautiful because she started to gain momentum as she started to take these aligned, audacious action steps. And over time, it actually freed her from her food obsession and her food addiction. It got her more and more aligned with herself. She ended up actually, she stopped focusing on food at all. And what's funny is that she ended up actually losing 20 pounds. But what was even more powerful than all of that was that she was like, I know that I want to help more people. And so She started taking these little action steps. She ended up getting certified as a coach. She ended up getting certified in these different healing modalities. And as she came into more and more of what she was doing, it like the interest of like what other people were doing just like completely faded into the background. She got so juiced up on what she was up to. She went to Italy. She had this huge like lifetime dream of going to Italy. I mean, just all these amazing things happened. And guess what? She called in her man, her life partner. And here's what's so cool is that when I saw her just a couple weeks ago, she was like, Deb, you know, he just loves me for me. I'm just completely myself. And I don't have to like try to be anything. He loves my body just as it is. I don't have to worry about anything. That is what is so possible when we just actually follow through with what we know we're here to do. And we get unhooked from this external feedback loop. And we start to come back into a more authentic, congruent version of ourselves. So, so important. So I hope that gives you some tools and some tips that can support you today. Again, it is always my pleasure to be here with you. If you want some specific support around how to really have the confidence to follow through with what you know you're here to do, or get the clarity to really discover what you know you're here to do, or to have more confidence to be able to do that thing. Like maybe you're just really, really clear, but you're like, there's too much standing in your way, and you find yourself holding back and getting in that self-betrayal anger pattern, then I will leave a link below. I am happy to jump on a quick 15-minute call with you. You can go to allofyou.today. This is what I'm passionate to do. I'm passionate to help you to get free of this stuff. So if that's something that you want, go ahead and just schedule some time with me. Again, Debbie Lichter, I am so, so honored to be here with you, and I will connect more with you next time. Bye for now. Mwah.